Today's video is a little different. I'm going to critique my first watercolor painting. Then I'm going to give you 4 lessons I wish I would have known when I painted this painting. 4 things that can help you grow faster as a painter, but also be happy along the way. Let's take a look. Now I will say I likely was following a YouTube tutorial. I don't think I just invented this out of my head, and I don't think I was looking at a reference photo. So I was likely following along with a tutorial. First of all, no real depth in this scene. You know, a lot of detail back in these mountains. Lowering the contrast on those would have been better. Also, I'm not sure what I was thinking with the color palette. I may have just been following along with the video. I don't even know what paints I was using. A little child's practice set or something like that. We know that warm colors come closer, cooler colors go further back, but cooling down the mountains would have been beneficial. The drawing, you know, there's some challenges. I'm not sure about this hill. I've split the painting into pieces. There's no connected shapes. A lot of abstractness, like purple here, green here, some different choices that I would definitely make today. I look back on this painting and it's easy for me to get critical, but also I'm just really happy. I'm excited that this was my first step. I mean, that's kind of where I was when I was starting. Let me show you one more. This is maybe a little bit later. I can tell obviously my palette has changed. I've probably started watching videos of some other artists at this point. I like to look back on these paintings because it's always good to see where I was versus where I am. Painting is such a mental pursuit, and how we speak to ourselves, how we perceive ourselves, and how we handle those complicated feelings can really help us decide to keep pushing forward and to growing, or to get kind of stuck in being critical of ourselves. If I could go back to me 10 plus years ago, these are the things I would tell myself for my own well-being, to help me to continuing to strive and to get better, but in a healthier approach. And I think that these will be good for you to hear too. So here we go. The top 4 bits of advice that I would give myself. Number 1, practice specifics. A big hang up that I see is that just like me, when I was starting out, most people try to improve by simply painting a full scene. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to grow faster, if you want to see bigger strides in your painting, what you need to do is start practicing specifics. Get very specific about what you need to improve on. So that's looking at your work, being honest. Do I want to improve in how I paint skies? Do I want to improve in drawing? Do I want to improve in figures, in trees, in certain elements of a landscape scene? Identify the areas that you need improvement in. Be honest with yourself. Take a look at your work. What are the things you want to get better in? For me, it was painting skies and it was painting figures. So if I didn't have time to do a full painting, I would practice painting skies and painting figures. And what do you know? Those are the areas that really picked up a lot faster, that I learned and improved in quicker because I was practicing those specific things. So set aside 10, 20 minutes a day, practice those specifics. It's even more important than painting a complete painting, because I could show you hundreds and hundreds of paintings I'm not happy with. And I was probably repeating some of the same mistakes over and over again. But the quickest way to get better is to practice specific things, not just complete paintings. Number 2, value consistency over results. This is important. We get very hung up with, did the painting turn out or did it not? But we need to remember that showing up consistently is so important. That keeps you on track. That keeps you building up the muscle memory, the mixing skills, the drawing skills, all the things that are going to move the needle. You're never going to improve in unless you're showing up consistently. One thing you can do is you can get a calendar. Every day that you do something to improve in painting, whether it's drawing, practicing something specific, painting a complete scene, put a little check mark on that day. Then when you get done with a week, you can glance back and see all the times that you chose to improve. Same thing when you get done with a month. You'll look back and say, There were 20 days where I said yes to painting. I said yes to getting better. I showed up to my easel to paint. I got my painting stuff out. I did some work. Try to value consistency over results. That'll make a big difference. The third thing is to vary influences. When I was first getting started, I wanted to paint just like Joseph Zbukvich. I still wish I could paint just like him, but that's not going to happen. And I'm my own person. And so as I become more sensitive to what I like and to my approach, I can find those differences between me and my influences. One big stumbling block is to find one person, to follow their approach exactly, and to never look anywhere else. Now, I wish I was your one person, right? I have courses, I lead retreats. It's amazing. I have students that will keep coming back, that do multiple retreats, that will buy my courses, and I think that's amazing. The reality is there's not just one way to paint. There's thousands of ways to paint. We need to hold both of those things at the same time. You can learn a lot from somebody like me that has a pathway to learn this medium. But after you've taken those steps and you've learned the foundation, introduce other influences. Learn other ways of doing that. Sometimes you need to learn something. You need to sit with it for a while and practice it and practice it and practice it. And then you'll start to see things that you do differently than your instructor. You'll discover things about yourself the longer that you paint. But it's important that you listen to those things as they pop up and not just dismiss them. Like, that's not how Matt did it, so I don't want to do it that way. So it's this balance we need to find between finding good instruction, but not only just sitting with that good instruction and just doing everything that that person says to do. Listen to your inner voice, vary your influences, and you'll find your own path as you move forward. Number 4, this is a big one that can hopefully bring you some peace as you continue to grow as a painter. And that is to try to stop comparing. Try to stop comparing yourself to everybody else that you see. This has never been harder than it is now. With social media, everyone posting paintings, now we're competing with AI, which is even more frustrating. I see a lot of accounts just posting artificial AI art, just tacking on a fake artist name on the end of it. So now we're not just comparing ourselves to each other, we're comparing ourselves to artificial intelligence. The technology that we have is amazing. The fact that I can put up a YouTube video every single week and artists around the world can watch it and I can teach something, that's great. But what also happens is comparison. You know, this person hasn't been painting as long as me and they're way better. This other artist that I don't really like their work, they got into a show and I didn't. I'm just looked at a painting that I don't like, that I'm struggling with, and now I see someone who has painted a scene much better than I could have. Comparison is destructive. It steals the joy out of painting. We have to remember why we even pick up a brush, why we sit down and put so much work and effort into learning something that is so difficult. We can get lost in all of that when we are busy comparing. So limit your screen time. I know that's the challenge we're all on right now. How do we limit destructive thoughts, destructive comparison? And I don't have a great answer for that. But I hope by me mentioning it here today, you can be more aware of it and you can catch yourself. So what can we do instead of comparing? Well, we can do a little bit of what I did today. We can look back at our old paintings and see progress. I heard the phrase, always measure backwards, in the book, The Gap and the Gain. I've talked about it before on this channel. It's a great book to help you to look inward, to strive forward, to stay within yourself, and to stop looking so much at everybody else. But if you are only measuring backwards, you're seeing your own growth. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that really matters. It doesn't matter how you compare to anybody else. You are running your own race. So always measure backwards. Those are my 4 things that I would tell myself on day 1 of me picking up a brush. And I hope that those 4 things are helpful for you and you can find some encouragement as you continue to paint, continue to grow, and to move forward. Now, if you have questions about the way that I paint, take a look at this. Have you ever been really excited about a painting and you get all set up, you find that right reference that you're excited about, and then it's time to go and you feel lost? I have a free resource that I want to give to you today that can help with these problems. My 5 steps to plan a successful watercolor painting. I walk you through the crucial planning phase of your painting that will help you understand what you're going to paint first, second, and third. The planning is really so important, especially in watercolor. This medium is harder to correct. It's so immediate. So having that plan is very important. I send you a PDF that you can download. And the great thing about this is you can have it on your phone. You could print it out. You can download this right now before you start your next painting. All you have to do is follow this link here and download my 5-step guide to planning a successful watercolor painting.